Hi, this is Mark Richardson. Thanks for joining me. What I'm going to do today is record two videos. This first one is on how to set up a demo of Mondial from the get-go. This will get your environment all ready before you actually do the demo. And then after this, I'll record a second one, which is actually going through the demo itself. So what I'm going to do first is share the screen so you can actually see what we are looking at. And I think I'm already sharing it, so you should be able to see it. Okay, good. I'm going to put myself on, I'm going to hide myself, and then you can focus on what I'm actually showing you. So when you first go into Mondial, most of you will have the typical demo environment. You can play along with your own environment if you need to, but most of you will be seeing this demo environment here with these demo companies. And I tell a story. As we go through the demonstration, I tell a story. And so if I bring onto the screen this PDF, this PDF actually talks through, before the demo, how Mondial actually works, how we bring in the data from various sources, how we normalize it, how we then do adjustments if necessary, and how we do the reporting. And as I go through the demo, what I actually do is go through this cycle. And at each point, I can drill into the detail to have retained audit control over what I'm doing. So I'll move that off to the side. You'll see that again when we actually do the real demo. But here's the base environment, and this is what I do. So the first thing that I do is I set up some template reports just to have a look at. And as I expand the menu, if I press Control and Shift at the same time, when I click on a menu option, instead of replacing this screen, it opens up a new tab and I can keep the tab there. I like to have all my tabs open and preset, not because of any performance issues, but simply because you just move from one thing to the other and you don't have to wait at all. And the users don't have to see you entering parameter data. So I go to templates, and the template report opens, and I usually go to the UK company, OEC UK, and then I run a trial balance, simple trial balance, and I run it from the demo data for the full year. So I put 2019, the full year of 2019. I start off with GBP. I use the ERP system chart, which is the chart of accounts that comes with the Business One system for the UK company. I pick IFRS as my default and screen to where I'm going to do the output, and I generate a TB. And as I say, this is all about the setup. We'll go through the actual demo in a little while, and I'll take you through what I say and what I do. But you can see there's the trial balance in pounds. What I also then do is I'll go back to here, press Control Shift, and I'll open up another report, another template report. And I'll also do the UK. I will also do the trial balance. I will also do 2019. But this time I actually pick Canadian dollars. And so this is where I'm actually going to show the ability to flip between one currency and the other. But I'll pick ERP system chart. I'll pick IFRS. And I'll pick screen again, and I'll generate just like I did before. And you can see on the previous one, I can see the figures in pounds. Now with the Canadian report, I can see the figures in Canadian dollars. The next thing I do is I go to setup, I go back to companies, open up a new screen with the companies on it, and I go to the UK company and I select reporting currencies. What that allows me to do is when I'm showing these reports, it then allows me to go and explain where we get the exchange rates from by setting up the currencies for each company. And then attaching the currency rate for the currency value to each transaction as they come in. So that's the next thing that I do. Once I explained the basic navigation of the system, which I can do with these open, then the next thing I do is I get ready to show an alternate chart of accounts. And to do that, I pick alternate account sets, pressing Control and Shift again, and another tab opens, and here are the various charts of account that I'm going to use during the course of a demo. One thing I always go to show is I go back to companies, I open another tab, go to companies, I will go to the chart of accounts, which is here on this icon here for the UK company. I open it up, and this actually brings up the chart of accounts for the UK company in Business One or from Business One. Just takes a second to come up. There's the 6-digit code. And then up here is where I can expand, choose my group consolidation. That's what I'm going to look at. Click on there, and another column opens. And that allows me to show the mapping between the GL account from the underlying system and the GL account from my chart. So that's how I get to the point where I can explain this. So we start off with the alternate account sets. You can always click in them and actually see them during the demo, which I'll show you. And then the next screen is where I show how they are mapped together. And then just to finish this section, I go to Control Shift again, I open another tab. I go back to template again. I bring in the UK company again. I bring in the trial balance again. I do the same period, 2019. I pick Canadian dollars, but this time I pick the group consolidation and IFRS and the screen. And in this particular case, this then allows me to show the trial balance using the group chart of accounts. And from there, when we get into the demo, you'll see how I drill down on various figures to get all the way to the source data, even through the mapped chart of accounts. So the next thing that we do is we have what we've done so far, and just to remind you as we go, what we've done so far is we've talked about bringing the data in, normalizing it, aggregating it all together for each company, normalizing it, mapping it. And now we're going to do a little bit where we talk about reconciliation adjustment. And what I'm going to do there, this is where I actually bring up multi-ledgers. So again, I'm opening a new tab. This time I press Control Shift Ledgers. And this is where I explain to the users that I can set up as many different ledgers as I need to represent the different bodies or authorities or audiences that I need to report to, for which I may need to do adjustments. Going back to Control Shift, I can go to Accounting Adjustments, Management, which is where my templates are kept. I pick the UK. I select Draft Transactions. And then I go to, I've only set one up for demo. I've set up the US GAAP to IFRS adjustment. And I edit that, and it brings up, I can actually get rid of these two screens once I've done that, but I've now got the template. And this is where during the demo, I will explain how the template works to post a transaction. Now to finish this section off, two more times, I bring up the trial balances again. So I was on this template transaction. I opened up two more template reports. The first one, UK company again. This time I go to what's called a progressive trial balance, and we'll see that in the demo. I select 2019 as I have. I've always done the year 2019. That's where my data is. I select pounds. I select the group. No, which one? I'm going to select for the purposes of this exercise, the ERP system chart. I'm going to select IFRS, and I'm going to select screen. And you'll see the default is that the statutory adjustments column is going to appear alongside the regular trial balance. And you'll see that when it does, in fact, just while it's already there. So you can see that by doing what I just did with that statutory adjustment, the adjustment that I made in the previous screen, £10,000 to 10,010,000, actually appears against 10,010,000, and the balance is updated. And then what I do is I go to exactly the same report, UK. I go to progressive trial balance. I go to 2019 for the year again. I go to pounds. I go to ERP system chart. And this time I pick US GAAP and screen. Again, the statutory adjustments column is there. I'll hit generate. And the reason I do this is to show that if you look at the previous report we were looking at, which was the ledger was IFRS, the £10,000 appears because in the prior journal for that period, I used IFRS as the tag, not US GAAP. If I go to the US GAAP report, you'll notice that the £10,000 is not there. And so that's how I set up the journal to show how we can do adjustments. So we've done this bit and we've done this bit, and finally we're going to set up the reports that I demo, the starting point, just so that you've actually got something on the screen. Now, my own preference for this is to keep the reporting browser completely separate from the setup browser, just because it takes up a lot of space with all the tabs open. So what I do is I click Control Shift like I normally do, and instead of going to template this time, I go to reports. Oops. And I go to reports, and another tab opens, and this is where I've now got my reports dashboard. But what I do is I just take that, drag it off to one side, make it a separate window altogether, and then I can move these over onto another screen or hide them just while I'm setting up the reports. Just two different windows. Now, although I have a few tabs open on this page, I'm really looking at two different reports from different perspectives. So I'll just take you through it and then I'll explain what I've done. So I start with this report, and I go and select the profit and loss consolidated report. Profit and loss consolidated. I select it for the UK company. I select it for IFRS. I select it for the group chart of accounts. This is a consolidated report. So this is an example of where we've grouped different charts together to look the same. We're going to do it in pounds. We're going to do it for the same period that we normally demo, the end of 2019 for the year. And I'm going to run this twice. The first time is I'm going to run it on the screen. And you'll notice when I hit generate, it actually opens up another tab. So I go back to the prior tab and I change it to PDF. And I generate again. And so we've now got the report open on the screen. And when it finishes compiling, it'll just take a couple of seconds. I actually also have the PDF version of the report open to look at separately. I'll go back to that in a second when it's just taking a second or two. Probably because I'm on Wi-Fi. Oh, here it is. There's the report. So there's the US and UK and the total, and then on the screen, the US, the UK and the total, and all the numbers add up and everything. If I go back to the front screen, there's a couple of other things that I can do from this front page. I don't need to press Control Shift to do this, or Shift Control to do this. I can open up the column layout that appears here. I can open up the row format, and that would appear here. And the one other thing that I'm going to do, I do press Control Shift to this. I'm going to go to the edit mode for this particular report. And what this does for this particular report that we've chosen, I can show how the report is constructed. I can show the row format for this report. I can show the column layouts for this report. I can show a PDF version of this report, and I can show a screen version of this report. Now, what I'm also going to do is I'm just going to repeat this exercise, but for a completely different report. So I'm going to go back to the reports, and this time I am going to click Control Shift, and I'm going to open up the reports tab again. I'm going to move it over to the right, so I keep all of the ones for the consolidated report together up here. And on this tab, this time I'm going to pick report number 4, the actual versus budget for the month. The actual versus budget for the month. Report A5, I think it is. And again, we're going to do the UK company. We're going to do IFRS. We're going to do the group reporting set. We're going to do pounds, and we're going to do 2019 for the full year. And just like before, we're going to select screen and generate it. And then while it's building, I'm actually going to go back to the previous tab, select PDF, and I'm going to generate the report again. So we've now got two versions of the report, just like we did over here. We got the report and the PDF. And then again, while we're waiting for that to happen, I don't need to open up the row format for this one because it's the same as the previous report, but the column layout's different. So I'm going to open the column layout, go back to reports, and I'm also going to Control-Shift and open up the edit format for this report so that you can see on the consolidated report, when I go to edit it, you can see those are my 4 components that make up the report. Then similarly, if I go to edit the actual versus budget report, you'll notice that the 4 components are almost the same, only the column layout is different. And it's by opening up these column layouts. Here's the one for the consolidation. Here's the one for actual versus budget, that I've now got everything open that I need to go through the demo. Just to repeat the point I made at the start, you can, of course, do all this on the fly during the demo. But what I have found very useful is if I build this out ahead of time with all the tabs, and obviously you have to get used to where everything is and practice a few times, it just saves that little bit of time, actually a little bit of time filling in the detail like I just showed you. When I'm actually setting up a report here, I don't have to fill all this detail in. And by doing it ahead of time, it just makes the demo flow better. So that's actually how I set the demo up. What I'm now going to do is end this recording. And in a second, I'm going to record a second demo where I'm actually going to go through and do the demo as if you're a customer. And I will add a little bit more color as to why I'm showing things. But again, at that point, you've got all the tools you need to maybe copy what I do, add your own flavor, get used to navigating, and then be able to give a nice demo to customers.